So, you've heard about Chihuahuas, right? Yeah, those tiny pups that everyone seems to go crazy over. Sure, they're small, but don't let their size fool you. They've got a whole lot of attitude packed into those pint-sized bodies. Now, some folks might say they're perfect for apartment living, or if you're short on time for pet care. I mean, sure, they're small enough to fit into tight spaces, but let's be real here. They've got needs just like any other dog. Oh, and don't even get me started on their clinginess. These little guys are like shadows, always sticking to you like glue. They've even earned the nickname Velcro dogs because they just can't bear to be apart from their owners for even a second. One Chihuahua is supposedly enough for a family, but let's face it, dealing with that level of neediness can be a handful on its own. So if you're thinking about adding a Chihuahua to your family, just be prepared for a whole lot of sass and clinginess packed into a tiny package. Hey, they might be small, but they sure know how to make their presence known. Number 1. Those little guys might be small, but trust me, they've got some big attitudes packed into those tiny bodies. First off, they're smart and alert, always ready to steal the spotlight. They've got personalities that could fill a room, and they're not afraid to show it. But here's the kicker, they're attention hogs. Seriously, they thrive on being the center of attention, and if they don't get it, watch out because they can get pretty needy. Now, when it comes to loyalty, Chihuahuas take it to the extreme. We're talking possessiveness and obsession levels that rival a clingy ex. They're so attached to their owners that they'll become suspicious of anyone who dares to come near them. And let's just say they're not afraid to show their teeth if they feel threatened. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Chihuahuas might not be the best fit for households with kids or other pets. Why? Because they've got a bit of a dominance complex. They'll try to boss around anyone and anything in their path, even if it means starting a fight they can't finish. Trust me, you don't want to see your Chihuahua going toe-to-toe with a much larger animal. So, if you're thinking about bringing a Chihuahua into your life, just be prepared for a whole lot of attitudes, possessiveness, and maybe even a few fights along the way. Hey, they might be small, but they've got a big personality to match. Number 2. Those little bundles of attitude that people seem to adore. They're tiny, they're alert, and apparently they've got the courage of a lion. But don't let their size fool you. They've got some quirks that might not make them the best fit for every household. Sure, they love their owners, but when it comes to strangers, they're about as welcoming as a closed door. And while they might have a soft spot for kids, they're not exactly the best playmates. I mean, come on, have you seen how small they are? It's like having a toy instead of a real dog. Now, they might get along all right with kids and cats if they're raised together from day one, but let's not forget about their little hunting instincts. They've got a thing for chasing small animals, which could be a problem if you've got a hamster or a rabbit hanging around. So yeah, whether you're looking for a family pet or just a buddy for yourself, a Chihuahua might seem like a good idea. But trust me, they've got their quirks, and they might not be the perfect fit for everyone. Just something to think about before you bring one of these little troublemakers into your life. All right, let's talk about Chihuahuas, those tiny terrors that seem to think they're 10 feet tall. Sure, they've got those big brown eyes and that saucy expression that could charm the socks off anyone. But don't let that fool you. Number 3. Their ears? Yeah, they're like antennas, always sticking up when they're on high alert. But the rest of the time? Forget about it. They're flopped over like a pair of wilted flowers. And don't even get me started on their attitude. They might be small, but they've got personalities that could rival a Hollywood diva. Plus, they've got teeth that could rival a great white's, perfect for nipping at anything that dares to cross their path. And let's talk about their body, a slightly rounded skull, a defined stop, and a muzzle that's short and pointed. Plus, their chest, broad enough to make even the biggest dog jealous. But here's the kicker, that tail of theirs? It's always held up high like they're some kind of royalty. And their skin? Soft and loose-fitting, which might sound nice. But trust me, it's just another thing that makes them think they're hot stuff. So yeah, Chihuahuas might be small, but they've got egos bigger than Texas. Just be prepared for a whole lot of attitude packed into those tiny bodies. Number 4. Chihuahuas. Those little dogs that seem to think your lap is their personal throne. They're like clingy exes, always hovering around and demanding attention. Sure, they might be loyal, but let's not forget that they're also the most popular toy breed dog in the country. It's like they know they're in high demand and won't let you forget it. And don't even get me started on their personality. They might be tiny, but they've got egos bigger than Texas. It's like they're making up for their size with their attitude. But here's the thing, there's nothing worse than trying to relax on the couch and having a Chihuahua decide that your lap is the perfect spot to park themselves. And those big eyes? Yeah, they know exactly how to guilt trip you into giving them whatever they want. And let's talk about their temperament. Sure, they can be cute and cuddly one minute, but the next, they're on high alert like they're guarding Fort Knox. It's like they're constantly on edge, ready to pounce at the slightest sound. So yeah, Chihuahuas might make great pets for some people, but just be prepared for a whole lot of clinginess and attitude packed into those tiny bodies. Number 5. Chihuahuas seem to have a Napoleon complex. Seriously, they've got more attitude packed into their tiny bodies than a trained attack dog. You see, Chihuahuas have this idea in their heads that they're the biggest, baddest dog on the block. It's like they've watched one too many action movies and think they're the star of the show. So, if they sense even the slightest hint of a challenge, they won't hesitate to throw down even if it's against a dog 10 times their size. And let's not even mention their jealousy issues. These little divas can't stand the thought of someone else stealing the spotlight. If they even suspect that another pet or person is getting more attention than they are, watch out. They'll throw a tantrum that could rival a toddler's. Oh, and don't even think about bringing another pet into the mix. Chihuahuas have a hybrid drive that makes them about as welcoming to other animals as a grumpy old man on his front porch. So yeah, unless you want World War III breaking out in your living room, it's probably best to stick with just one Chihuahua. Number 6. These dogs seem to have 9 lives. Yeah, they might live longer than any other breed, but don't let that fool you into thinking they're low maintenance. You see, a lot of people think that because they're so tiny, Chihuahuas don't need much care or attention. But trust me, that couldn't be further from the truth. These little guys require some serious TLC to keep them happy and healthy. Because of their itty-bitty size and delicate frames, Chihuahuas need extra care and attention. They're like delicate little flowers that wilt at the slightest hint of neglect. Leaving them alone outside for too long or overfeeding them is a recipe for disaster. And let's not forget about the health problems that come with being overweight. Heart conditions, joint pain, diabetes, you name it, they've got it. So yeah, if you want your Chihuahua to stick around for as long as possible, you better be prepared to give them the care and attention they deserve. Number 7. Chihuahua bark a lot. They are yappers. Yeah, they might be good watchdogs with their constant barking at every little noise, but that could be a nightmare if you live in an apartment or condo with strict noise rules. You see, these tiny tyrants have a tendency to get stressed out when they're left alone for too long. It's like they've got separation anxiety on steroids. So, if you've got a job that keeps you away from home all day, a Chihuahua might not be the best fit for you. They're like clingy exes, always wanting to be by your side. It's like they've got a GPS tracker implanted in your leg and won't rest until they're right next to you. So yeah, if you're looking for some peace and quiet, a Chihuahua might not be the best choice for you. Number 8. Chihuahuas and their never-ending love affair with food. Seriously, these little guys are like bottomless pits. They'll eat anything and everything in sight. The biggest problem? Obesity. Yeah, it's a real issue with Chihuahuas because they just can't seem to stop themselves from stuffing their faces until they're waddling like a penguin. It's like they've got no off switch when it comes to food. But hey, there are ways to keep their waistlines in check. You can try feeding them specially designed kibble for small dogs or sticking to a strict feeding schedule with measured portions. And if you're a fan of canned food, just make sure to dole out a few spoonfuls throughout the day. Otherwise, they'll inhale it like it's their last meal. So yeah, if you're thinking about getting a Chihuahua, be prepared for a constant battle against their insatiable appetite. Trust me, it's like trying to fight a losing battle with a bottomless pit. Number 9. Let's dive into their not-so-cute side, jealousy and insecurity. Yeah, these little guys might seem affectionate, but trust me, they've got some serious issues when it comes to sharing the spotlight. You see, Chihuahuas are like the clingiest ex you've ever had. Once they've bonded with you, they'll never want to let you out of their sight. And don't even think about talking to other people or giving attention to other pets. That's a one-way ticket to Tantrum Town. It's like they've got this delusion that they're the center of the universe and everyone else is just living in their shadow. So if you're thinking about getting a Chihuahua, be prepared for a lifetime of being their number 1 and only priority. But hey, there's a workaround. Get 2 of them. Yeah, seriously. That way, they'll be too busy being jealous of each other to bother with you. It's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, or in this case, 2 Chihuahuas with 1 purchase. Number 10. Chihuahua training. Yeah, it's not exactly a walk in the park. Sure, Chihuahuas can be trained, but it's gonna take a whole lot of patience and persistence on your part. And let's not forget about the bribery, positive reinforcement. You're gonna need to shower them with treats and praise every time they do something right. Otherwise, they'll just ignore you like you're yesterday's news. Oh, and don't even get me started on their need for exercise. Yeah, they might be small, but they've got energy levels that could rival a toddler on a sugar high. If you don't keep them entertained, they'll find their own fun, like digging holes in your pristine yard. So yeah, training a Chihuahua is like trying to teach a toddler calculus. It's gonna take a whole lot of time and effort. But hey, if you're up for the challenge, go ahead and give it a shot. Just don't say I didn't warn you.